Hello, and welcome to the Meaningful Marketer podcast. I'm Mia, and this is Grace, and we talk about all things business, marketing, and how we can make them more meaningful and community driven because we truly believe that real human connection is the best way to market. That is the thing a lot of marketing is missing, and it brings purpose to our marketing. So we believe that serving people is really what makes marketing good. That when you learn how to market well, you're actually learning how to serve your people well. And so we're on a journey to do that. We've been on a journey for quite a while doing that because we used to work with a small business for 6 years, and now we're off on our own business, and we're teaching other businesses how to do this. We're learning more along the way because we're always learning and growing, right? And so we're sharing that journey with you and sharing all the things that we've learned past and that we're currently learning with you about marketing, about how to make it more meaningful, and about how to get the results you want, but by putting connection, community, and people first, always. In a world that we know does not always do that. So welcome. And today we're going to be talking about how to start a community-led business. So maybe you're someone who is first starting a business and you're like, I want to do things right. I want to put community first, but how the heck do I do that? Like, how do I take that from just a thought and actually turn it into simple, doable actions that I can accomplish? Or maybe you're someone who already has a business, but you're really wanting to kind of refresh your strategy and lean into this community-led method of marketing. Maybe you're someone who's built a successful business, but you feel that you lack the meaning and purpose a little bit. And maybe you're even questioning why. Maybe you're even like, well, my business is making money. Like this is all the things I ever dreamed of. But why do I still feel this kind of hole there? And maybe it's because connection is missing in the business, whether with your community of shoppers or your clients or your fellow employees or whatever that looks like. We truly believe that a lot of the time when we're lacking purpose, we're finding that dissatisfaction. A lot of the time comes back with the connection we have with ourselves and or the connection we have with the people around us. And so that is what we want to focus on. So today we're going to go over a couple things that you can do to either start your business in a community-driven way, or you can start to refresh things that you're doing in a more community-driven way. Now, I want to say, are there more things that you can do than this? 100%, but we believe these are a couple foundational things that are going to get you started. So make sure to subscribe and tune in and keep watching because we release these weekly and we're talking about these topics every single week that are just going to give you more tools in your toolbox to know how to run your business in a more meaningful way and put community first. And if you're part of our Meaningful Marketer membership, you also get bonus content and you get to watch first, live, ask questions, all of the things like that. So make sure to tune in because we love getting to chat with y'all. It's really cool. It's an honor to get to experience the good, the bad, the ugly, the hard things, the easy things that come with running a business and with helping other small businesses. And it's an honor to be able to take that and share it and feel like we're able to save you some of the same mistakes, or we're able to make you feel less alone, because through that, we also feel less alone and we feel meaning and purpose in what we're doing because we get to help you, and that's what we're passionate about.
It is. And, I just also want to reiterate that it's never too late to have community driven marketing in your brand. Even like Mia said, maybe you already have a business and on paper it's super successful, but you feel like there's a piece that's missing. Like, we will meet you where you're at to help you build a community around your brand. In our experience at our last job, that was something that we built from the ground up. Mia specifically kind of had this epiphany about, okay, I think that we need to start a Facebook group and, grow community here. And it blossomed into something really special. And we were able to see firsthand how that really ultimately built the business and made it the most lucrative. Whether you're, starting from the ground up or you're diving in halfway through, there's always room for community-based marketing. And we're here to teach you actionable steps of how you can carry that into your business like today.
So step one of starting a community-driven business or getting on the path to a community-driven business, because as Grace said, it is never too late. In life, there's always this pressure of certain, after a certain age, it's too late. After a certain amount of time, it's too late. There's this constant FOMO all the time because that is how people keep you engaged and interested in what they are doing is FOMO. That is one of the most effective ways to keep someone listening and buying and all of these different things. We're not about that. Spoiler alert. And so I want to say, if you start to feel that FOMO well up within you, I want you to stop right now, take a deep breath, and I want you to remind yourself that you are right where you're supposed to be. Okay, because you are. And I heard something the other day that's helped me so much, and that is, I'm going to butcher how you say it, but it's like, I have confidence in knowing that everything that's meant for me cannot miss me, and everything that misses me was never meant for me. And that is something so nice to remind yourself of. I find myself right now reminding myself of that numerous times a day because it just is. It's something that you struggle with as a human, that FOMO, that I'm going to miss my moment or I've already missed the mark. It is never too late. There's people who have pivoted at 50, 60, 70 years old and they're living their dream lives. And it's the same no matter your age or stage of business that you are in. So step one is you need to establish your values. If you are someone who is already a business that is established, revisit your values because over time, your values might change. You might find that when you first started your business, maybe your values were more about money or aesthetics or something that maybe you don't value as much anymore, something that's not as valuable in the marketing world as it used to be anymore. And so you might find that you need to revisit those and that you need to make a list, have a brain dump, and jot down what means the most to you now. Now, we have a whole section in our class that is about to come out, which is the Social Media Makeover class. Members, you already have access to this if you're a founding member. And so in that, we go more depth into how to establish your values amongst a lot of other things that align with this. However, surefire way to do it is what is something that makes you really angry and why? Like, I really want you to think when somebody does something and it's like 10 out of 10 how mad you are. Think of what is happening in that moment. What are they violating in that moment? What do you feel in that moment? And that is probably going to give you a good idea of where your values are.
Yeah, good point.
Growing up for me, always as a kid, if I saw something that just wasn't just, that wasn't fair, if I saw someone lying about something, trying to tarnish someone's reputation, let's face it, a lot of the time that was in a movie or a book that I was reading. But obviously, as I grew and was in school, it happens as you grow up as well in real life. That was like 10 out of 10 for me. I just couldn't stand. I'm like, I can't stand to see somebody lying about something or dragging someone else through the mud or making them look bad. 10 out of 10 for me. So mad. Then, I probably value justice, honesty, integrity, those kinds of things. And so that is what I want you to look at when you're defining your values, because those are going to be your compass as you create this community-led business, because this is going to be the guidelines, the compass of how you interact within your business and how you set the culture for how other people are going to interact in your business. Because the first part about community is you are bringing like-minded people together. Now, does that mean that they agree on every single thing? Absolutely not. We had a group of about 5,000, 6,000 people, different political backgrounds, different religious backgrounds, different opinions on things. And I hardly ever had to break up a fight because the common ground, the common denominator there was their values. They valued kindness, they valued acceptance, they valued people. And so because we were able to set those values, it brought people who valued people and valued kindness and valued community together. That didn't mean that they had to all think the same. And so the first part about creating a community-led business is how do I bring like-minded people together? But realizing that that doesn't necessarily always mean they all think the exact same.
That's a good
If you're trying to get people who all think the exact same, you're probably going to have a pretty hard time.
At that point, you're not creating a community, you're creating a cult. If you want them all to completely agree everything that you think, and like that's a dangerous thing. So yeah, I think acknowledging that hopefully you're going to find some people that really feel like you're people through building your community, but you're also going to have some people that maybe you wouldn't even like on a personal basis, but they're supporters of your brand and they believe in what you're doing. And so that's a great point. It's not about building an echo chamber of people who all think and feel the same way. It's about creating a safe space for a lot of different people who support you to come together.
Yes. And so if you can do that, that's like step one. If I can create a safe spot where like minded people can come together. And how are they like minded? They're like minded in their values. Whether they can pinpoint what their values are or not, they value similar things to you. And what that is going to be is the glue that keeps them feeling connected with your business because your values align with theirs, and what keeps them like keeps harmony within your community and allows your community to connect with each other. Because despite what they believe, what they think, opinions, if they carry those same values, there is going to be, for the most part, some harmony in there. So that is why it is so important. That's why it's so important if you already have a team, the team knows what those values are and everybody rallies around them. And how can we bring these to life and create a culture out of these? And so that is the first step. And I would define between 3 to 5 values. They can also be personal values. So that could be something that you have your 3 to 5 business values of what you all unite together as a business. And then maybe you also have your personal values. Maybe you even encourage your partners, your employees to explore and express their personal values, because the other part of this is if they know your values and you know their values, you're also going to be able to work a lot better together. And if you work better together, you're going to be able to take that sense of community that you have within your team and you're going to be able to express that outward. And that's going to be something that's magnetic. People love, they want to be a part of that because you don't see that always all the time. And so even getting your team involved, because that's not only going to benefit your company, but that is also going to benefit your business as a whole, as well as that person's personal life. Like you could end up being a huge part of that person's personal story, whether they work with you forever or not, because that's something that you encouraged them to do. But overall, it is going to create a better environment for you, for your team. And if you're a one-woman show, then just keep that in mind as you grow, and maybe you have a team one day. But if you already have a team, those are things that you can go ahead and start doing. So the second thing is focus on organic growth first. And there is a reason for this. We talked one day in a video before we started this podcast. Me and Grace had a live video in our membership that talked about the different ways to start a business. And I really believe that when you can start organically, you are setting yourself up to be a more community driven business. Now, am I saying that if you don't start organically, and by organic, I'm talking about paid ads, those types of things, versus just hopping on social media and building that following organic through content? A lot of the time, what you're going to find when you start with paid ads, or when majority of your focus is on paid ads, is that you might see your sales increase, but you might not see the level of connection you're wanting or the return customer rate unless you have a very strong funnel after they purchase with you the first time. You need like a strong connection funnel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Funnel to ensure that they actually connect with you, because otherwise you're just an ad that they have seen, they've purchased, and then they probably never think about you again. Where if someone is experiencing you first through an organic interaction, they have connected with you through some form of content, they are probably coming to your page and they're probably focusing on the connection first before the conversion. Now, is there a place for both of those things? 100%. Absolutely. We're going to look into doing paid ads at some point to reach more people, to, help more people, to share what we have with more people. But that is just not the main focus, the first thing, because we want to focus on lasting connections. Now, if you do have ads and you're running ads, I'm not telling you quit running ads if that's something that works for your business, but make sure you are giving an equal amount of attention to your organic funnels, to your social media, to all of that, because you're going to be cultivating those genuine connections in those spaces. And you are also going to be creating a lot more likelihood that these people who buy through ads are then going to connect with you on these organic platforms and create a real connection with you. That is going to strengthen you having some kind of funnel, because a lot of the time, what do? if we go see an ad, I don't know about you, I go and see if they have a Instagram first. It's a lot harder to build a solid Instagram following than it is to just pop an ad up. So I know if they're on Instagram, if they're showing, social proof, their community using their item and stuff like that, I know it's probably something I can trust, because unfortunately in this day and age, you can't really trust everything, so especially when it's online and it's an ad, because it's easy for someone to pop up couple $100 a month, put an ad have an ad going around, and to be a little shady or scammy. I think maybe we've all experienced that at some point,
For sure.
unfortunately. And so focusing on that first, because I want to say so many times I think people are like, well, I don't feel like I can grow very large through organic reach or growth. And I want to tell you that when Grace and I were working at the company that we previously worked at, I can tell you right now, we did not have ads until it was probably my final year there. We had already cleared well over $1 million before we had incorporated ads. So, can you scale a business fully organic to $1 million without ads? Absolutely. And I would say most of the best businesses are doing that. And that's not, if you're a business who's like, well, I missed the mark, I didn't do that. That's not like a downer for you or anything. But I definitely think make sure that you are just paying as much attention to the organic playground for people, that organic funnel for people, as much as you are to your paid advertisement. Now, you might be someone who's watching this and you might be like, I don't know what you're talking about. My paid advertisement is doing great. It's working great for me. I'm seeing great connections from that. Then ignore everything I've just said, because we are so much more concerned about you being successful, you reaching your goals, than we are about being right. And we are humble enough and smart enough to know that every single business is unique, and there is not a marketer or business person alive that can say this is the one way for all businesses, because there's not one way. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors. But if you are someone who wants to focus on community-led marketing, and you are someone who has not delved into the world of paid advertisement, you can 100% grow your company to $1 million or more company on just organic reach alone, on just focusing on that.
We've seen it done. Like, I don't know that I would believe it if we didn't see it happen physically in front of us. But yeah, I think people have a tendency to think, well, ads, like, you can measure analytics and, like, whatever. You have one ad blow up, it's going to increase your revenue by insurmountable amount. Like, yeah, that might be true, but I do think there's something to be said for building something slow and steady too. If your business is your dream, and if you want it to, kind of like remain successful, and you don't want to just blow up really fast, and it depends a lot on, again, like, what your goal and what your motivations are, what your values are, like you said, Mia. But I do think it might be a little bit of the tortoise and the hare thing. Like, maybe you spend more time building a great community around your brand, and then you see it start to really become successful after 3, 5, 10, 15 years. But, I feel like you're doing it with integrity and with real intention behind it, versus like, I just want to run a bunch of ads until one of them really catches on. Yeah.
Agreed. And I think it is, again, there's not a one size fits all for everyone, but I do think that typically one without the other, paid advertisement without organic playgrounds for people, social media, those kinds of things, it doesn't work as well a lot of the time. So yeah, just keep in mind every business is unique, but you can 100% focus on that organic marketing and grow your business that way. We've seen it done, and it's going to also be a lot more cost effective for you, and it is going to be a lot less stressful for you, in the sense of you waking up one day and you're a one-person show, and all of a sudden you have to start hiring numerous different people as quickly as possible to help you keep this show on the road. And so people see that sometimes with like viral videos. They're like one person doing everything, and a video goes viral, and then they're like doing the work for 10 people. But then it's like, well, do I hire 10 people? Because, I'm not going to have a video go viral every other day, and it's a tricky situation. So another thing I would tack onto that, focus on real connection driven content and not just viral content. The goal is not to go viral. I'm telling you right now, from someone who has gone viral, from someone who has seen businesses go viral numerous times, it produces problems of its own. So you are not going to go viral and then it's like, oh my gosh, everything's just peachy. You're going to go viral, and instead of having the problems maybe of I don't have enough money right now, like maybe you have that one problem of I don't have enough money in business right now, then to having 10 problems of I don't have enough people to ship, I don't have enough product, I don't have enough of this, that, and having to make some difficult decisions on how to navigate that.
Great
And
point.
so the goal is not to go viral either. Any kind of content that is getting you ads viral, going viral, a lot of attention in a short span of time, you are not solving all of your problems. You are just giving yourself a different set of problems than what you were originally facing.
Yeah, it's about scaling sustainably, I would say. I think that's the less stressful way to do it anyway, right? And building a good foundation for your brand so that maybe if you do have a video go viral or semi-viral or something, you have kind of the infrastructure in place and you're anchored to something, and it's not just going to completely like explode you,
Yes, agreed. And so make sure you're not focusing on just fast growth. A lot of the time, we scoff at the slow, sustainable growth. But I'm telling you, when you get on the other side of it, you end up realizing that that is what you needed at the time, because you needed space and time to grow yourself, to figure out how to operate this thing, to figure out what works. And so a lot of the time, if you have that overnight success, that's great. But is it sustainable? Is that something that you're going to be able to maintain long term? Is that something that's going to wreck the next 6 months of your life? Because now you have to turn your learning and growing stage into like hyper mode of I'm spending 24 hours a day every single day trying to learn how to sustain this thing. Where if it was a sustainable growth over time, it's a lot less pressure on you. You're getting to learn little bits at a time. And I'm not saying there's necessarily a right or a wrong way. I do think that, kind of going into that hyper growth and you having to learn things very fast, it has its benefits, but also for 6 months to a year, maybe a little more, you might be miserable. You might not have a life. Your mental health might really suffer. And I don't think that that's always worth it. Obviously, everyone can shoulder a different types of things depending on the stage of life you're in and your personality type and everything. But yeah, I feel like it can be very tricky when that is an option or that happens. So just the grass isn't always greener. That person that you saw blow up and go viral, like they've got their own set of problems that they're dealing with too. Yours just look different than theirs. We all have problems. They just aren't the same problems always. The other thing is focus on good customer service and engagement. If that is something that you are not putting as a focus in your business, you are not going to develop those deep connections. You are going to have someone who feels a spark and a connection with you, and then that's going to fizzle out real fast because you don't have the systems in place to maintain that connection. And what I would say in having a community driven business, a whole huge part of that is you want to keep your customer retention rate up. So that just means you want your people to continue shopping with you over time. Obviously, not every business is like that, right? Some businesses are not going to be like that, and that's okay. You might be a one and done kind of business. But if you can keep that connection, then you're going to get referrals and loyalty, and you're going to see that manifest in other ways. And so making sure that you focus heavily on what you are pouring into your customer support and your engagement is huge. And that is oftentimes the thing that is overlooked most. To be vulnerable, that is oftentimes, I wouldn't say customer support, but engagement is oftentimes something that gets overlooked on our part because we're two people and we're running multiple different things in our business, and have multiple clients on top of doing things like this. And so it's something we're working on to make sure we're prioritizing that. So I would say ensure you're prioritizing that, but also have grace with yourself. It's going to look like baby steps of making that better and better and better over time. Just ensure that that's not getting overlooked and that you are pouring time and resources into that. I would say just as much, maybe, or close to just as much as the time and resources that you were pouring into reaching new people. Because oftentimes what businesses end up doing is they're so focused on that new shiny thing all the time of new people, new people, new people, that they forget to nurture the people who have already said yes to them and who are shopping with them over and over. A lot like a marriage, and you get married, and then it's like you're spending, when you first get together or first are married, there's so much time and energy that is poured into that relationship. And then you kind of get like, oh, I don't have to pour as much time and energy into this relationship anymore. And so it's all the new shiny things, different friendships, just different things that you start pouring all your time and energy into. And then no time and energy is left to pour into your marriage. And it's a lot the same whenever you are connecting with people on the internet. You're pouring all this time and energy into them to get them. But then once you have them, it's like, oh, well, I don't have to pour the time and energy here anymore. I already have this person. But they can very easily just decide not to shop with you anymore. They can lose that connection. And over time, I want to say there are going to be people who lose the connection. You're going to see people come and go because people go through seasons. Sometimes they're going to be going through a hard season where they can't shop or they can't get on the internet as much and connect with people. And that's okay. So be prepared for that. But as much as you can, don't let that be because you have failed in nurturing the connections that you have made. And you can do that by ensuring you are putting good focus on your customer support and on your engaging with people, with your community. And that is going to help nurture that. And over time, you're going to notice more ways that you can nurture your community. I wasn't a marketing expert, but I knew the community that we ran. And I knew maybe if I didn't see someone in a while, or I heard that one of them lost someone close to them, and I knew in that moment, oh, we should send them something for free, or we should send them a card, or we should send them a message, and that's going to look different for everyone, for every business. But I believe when you shift your focus or you ensure that you're focusing on good customer service and engagement and nurturing those relationships, I believe that over time, you are going to see people a lot better in your community, and you're going to start to have ideas of how you can nurture them even deeper. Like I said, I started thinking of those things, and those were huge things that were a reason people would come back and shop with us, or would
That's
continue to participate in the community even when they couldn't shop with us. But I didn't need a marketing degree to know that. I just needed to focus on people. And I just needed to focus on our values, and then things would come to mind like, oh, we should do this for this person. We should send this message, or we should send this package to them, or, whatever we needed to do. And so when you're doing that, you're also going to find that you think of new ways, of other ways that your unique business can nurture that relationship even more as well. So the final thing that we're going to chat about that is focusing on building a community-led business, or refreshing your business to be more community led, is to create smaller groups that people can connect in. So, for instance, when we were at the company that we were previously at, like Grace said, I had thought about a Facebook group. So it may look like a Facebook group, it might look like a Substack. But the whole importance of it that I want to get across here is you want a place where you can connect with your people deeper, that isn't just on this one post a day, one story a day thing. Now, there are people who still connect with their people really great that way. I'm not saying you can't. But the big thing I feel like with any kind of community driven thing is you want to create spaces where the like minded people that you've brought together can connect with each other.
Yeah.
In a safe place. We talk about that when we start a ambassador program for a company. We talk about that, if the company is just looking to deepen their connections, how are you creating a space where these people that have been brought together can connect more with you and with each other? Because then you're a part of something then. You know what I mean? You're developing, like, they're not just developing a real friendship with you, they're developing a real friendship with other people. And they have this common interest and common values brought together. And that's going to create for a really strong online relationship for these people. And we know because we've gotten to see it happen. And I'm not talking about like, oh, there's like 10 friendships, out of the, no, I'm talking hundreds of people,
right.
like hundreds of friendships, maybe even thousands of people and friendships through this group that we created. And I really believe that is a huge reason why it was successful as it was, because not only were we able to connect with the people deeper, but we were able to provide a place where if these people wanted to, they could connect with other people that were brought in the space deeper as well. And that is really powerful. We had a ambassador program that we've run for a client, and this program, when it first started, it definitely grew. We saw some growth in the first couple months, but I kept telling the person, the client, I kept saying, create something for your ambassadors. Like, that's what's missing here. You need a spot that you can communicate with them more, that's not email, and you need a spot that they can connect with each other more. Once that, it took a minute for that to get created because the client's really smart. And she was like, well, before I invest in that, I want to make sure it's something that I can keep up with, which is fair. You should be asking those questions, because if you can't keep up with it, it's not going to work. So once they created that smaller space, the program, just like their return on the program, grew so much. Their participation by their ambassadors grew so much. And so if you have a part in your business that is feeling quite dry, or maybe your business as a whole is feeling quite dry, I'm not saying for everyone, it's got to be a careful decision made, because then you are, getting more involved with your community and people, which is great, but you have to make sure that you can sustain that you are ready for that. And so look at, though, maybe what's missing here is I just need a small way that I can connect with these people deeper and that they can connect with each other. And what's also going to happen is when they can connect with each other, there is constant engagement going on and happening that is connected directly to your business, that you are not always having to pour time and energy into 24/7, because then people are talking amongst themselves. You might even have people who are really loyal to your brand, who sometimes they see a question and they're answering the question for you because they love you. You've been there for them, you've poured into them, and they're loyal to you. And so that, I think, is a huge thing. And that's going to look different for everyone. I'm not saying you need to go start a Facebook group. I'm not saying you need to go start an Instagram group message or a broadcast channel or a Substack. But I am saying look at those things and really think about what would fit your business best. It's just in simple ways. How do I take what I'm doing here and bring it to a smaller space that is not so much algorithm, all that driven, but it is just driven on bringing people together and connections. And there's so many ways to do that. You can do WhatsApp groups, you can do Facebook groups, you can do, all of these different things. So you can do paid communities, whatever that looks like for you. That is definitely something to consider. But I also want to say that once you have a leaned in community and they love you and they're loyal to you, you then have the responsibility to take care of that and to make sure that you do not abuse that and the connections that you've made, because that is something that we've seen people fall into as well, where, you can build a community, but then that doesn't necessarily mean you're always a good steward of that community. You're always a good, keeper of that community. And so that's again where values come in, so important, because then we go back to our values and we make sure that we're upholding those values within the community that we've created. So those are a few ways that you can start a community-led business. Make sure to subscribe, because we upload new videos every single week, and we pick a different topic to talk about that's just going to build more and more and more on these things and give you more tools in your toolbox. If you want even more tools in your toolbox, make sure to check out our Meaningful Marketer membership, because we have a space there where you can get live group coaching calls each month. You get bonus content on these, which members stick around. We have some bonus content for you at the end of this. And you get templates that you can use for social media, for email ideas, a lot of different tools that just help you with ongoing support with these things every single month. And it's for an affordable price that business owners of any size can actually afford, because that was really important to us. So make sure to check that out. You can find it linked in all of our places, or you can message us and ask us about it. We're happy to chat with you. But thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. We love getting to chat with you, and we will talk to you soon.